Olivia opened her eyes slowly. Her head hurt, and for a moment she couldn't remember where she was. The room around her was strange. The walls curved in a way that didn't seem normal, and they glowed with a soft blue light. There was no visible source for the light. It seemed to come from the walls themselves. She sat up quickly and the memories came rushing back. The observatory, the silver ship, the violet-skinned woman named Lyra. It hadn't been a dream. "You're awake." "Good." Lyra's voice came from behind her. Olivia turned to see the alien woman standing in an opening that hadn't been there a moment ago. Up close, Lyra looked even less human. Her violet skin had subtle patterns that seemed to shift and move. Her eyes changed colors with her emotions. Right now they were a deep blue. "Where am I?" "What happened?" Olivia asked, her voice shaking slightly. "You're aboard my ship," the astral whisper. Lyra replied, walking closer. "You lost consciousness during the transfer. It happens sometimes to humans. Your bodies aren't used to our teleportation technology." Olivia stood up, steadying herself against what seemed to be a bed, though it had no sheets or pillows. "You kidnapped me." Lyra's eyes flashed purple. "I asked for your help, and you took my hand. That was consent by our standards. But I understand your confusion. This is not how I wanted our meeting to go." "Those men in black suits, who were they?" "Your government's response team. They monitor for beings like me. They would have taken me, studied me, and I would have died before I could save my people." Lyra gestured to a wall which immediately transformed into a window. "Look," Olivia gasped. Outside was the blackness of space with Earth visible below them, a beautiful blue sphere. "We're in space?" "How long was I out?" "Just a few hours. My ship is fast." Lyra touched a panel on the wall, and the window changed to show their trajectory. They were heading toward the outer planets of the solar system. "You said your people are dying. Who are your people? Why do you need me?" Olivia demanded, trying to stay calm despite the situation. Lyra sighed, and her hair seemed to float more slowly around her head. "I should show you. It will be easier to understand." She held out her hand. "Will you come with me?" Hesitantly, Olivia took Lyra's hand. The alien's skin was warm, and it tingled slightly against Olivia's palm. Lyra led her through corridors that seemed to form as they walked and disappear behind them. Eventually, they entered a large circular room with a central platform. As they stepped onto it, the room darkened, and points of light appeared all around them, forming what looked like a three-dimensional star map. "My people are called the Astrians," Lyra began. "Your kind has known us by many names throughout history. The Watchers is perhaps the most common." The star map shifted, zooming in on a particular star system with multiple planets. One of them lit up brighter than the others. "This was our homeworld, Astria. For millions of years we explored the galaxy, studying other life forms. We were especially interested in Earth." The map shifted again, showing Earth. Images appeared of ancient civilizations: Egypt, Mesopotamia, China, the Mayans. In each image there were violet-skinned figures standing among the humans, often in positions of authority or wisdom. "You've been coming to Earth for thousands of years?" Olivia asked, amazed. "Yes, we watched your kind grow. Sometimes we helped. We shared knowledge when your people were ready for it." "So all those ancient alien theories? Many are exaggerated, but not entirely wrong." Lyra smiled slightly. "We were careful. We didn't want to interfere too much, just guide occasionally." The images changed, showing more recent history. World wars, the space race, modern times. As your technology advanced, we became more cautious. We sent fewer observers, but we still watched. "Why?" Olivia asked. "What's so special about humans?" Lyra's eyes turned a golden color. "Your potential. Your species evolves quickly, adapts rapidly. You feel deeply. You create with passion. You are capable of great destruction, but also great beauty. You reminded us of ourselves long ago." The images disappeared, replaced by new ones. These showed another alien species. Tall, insect-like creatures with hard exoskeletons and multiple limbs. 10 years ago, everything changed. Another species discovered our presence around Earth. The Karvek. They are a militaristic empire that believes all species should evolve without outside influence, or be conquered if deemed unworthy. The images showed Karvek ships attacking Astrian vessels. They saw our interest in Earth as interference. They attacked our outposts, hunted our observers, and then... Lyra's voice faltered and her eyes turned a dark gray. They created a bioweapon designed to target our specific biology. They released it on our homeworld. The map showed the bright, planet dimming, areas of it turning black. The weapon works slowly. It has been killing us for years now. Our scientists have tried everything to find a cure. Nothing works. And that's where I come in? Olivia asked, her heart racing. But how? I'm just a human. Lyra turned to face her directly. Not just any human. Your grandfather was Dr. William Brennan, correct? Olivia's eyes widened. Yes, he was a biologist. He died when I was a child. He was more than that. He was one of the few humans we made direct contact with. He was working on quantum biology, the study of quantum effects in living systems. His experiments were more successful than he knew. Lyra touched another panel, and a DNA strand appeared, spinning slowly in the air between them. This is your DNA. It contains something unique, a quantum signature that shouldn't be possible in human genetics. Your grandfather's experiments altered his own genetic code, and he passed those alterations to your mother, who passed them to you. The DNA zoomed in, showing a particular section that glowed differently from the rest. This sequence produces proteins that in your body do nothing special, but in our biology, Lyra waved her hand, and the image changed to show the protein interacting with Astrian cells. It neutralizes the bioweapon. Your blood contains the only known antidote to the poison that's killing my people. Olivia stared at the images, trying to process what she was hearing. So you need my blood? How much? Not much. Our scientists need samples to synthesize the antidote. Once we have the formula, we can produce it in large quantities. And after that? Will you take me home? Before Lyra could answer, a loud alarm sounded throughout the ship. The star map disappeared, replaced by an external view showing 3 large, angular ships approaching. They were dark gray with glowing red lines along their hulls. Karvek. Warships, Lyra said, her voice tight. They must have tracked our jump from Earth. The ship shuddered as something hit it. Lyra grabbed Olivia's hand and pulled her toward the exit. We need to get to the bridge. Now. They ran through the corridors, which seemed to rearrange themselves to create the shortest path. As they ran, Olivia asked, "Can we fight them?" "The Astral Whisper is a research vessel, not a warship," Lyra replied. "Our only chance is to outrun them." They reached the bridge, a semicircular room with a large viewing window and control panels that seemed to float in the air. Lyra placed her hands on the main console, and her fingers danced across holographic symbols that appeared at her touch. The ship accelerated sharply, throwing Olivia against a wall. She watched in awe as Lyra controlled the vessel, her movements precise despite her clearly weakening condition. The alien woman's skin seemed paler now, with dark patches appearing on her arms. The bioweapon, Olivia realized. You're infected, too. Lyra nodded without taking her eyes off the controls. Most of us are. I'm one of the lucky ones. My symptoms progress more slowly, but even I don't have much time left. Outside, the 3 Karvek ships were gaining on them. One fired, a bright red beam that narrowly missed the Astral Whisper. "Where are we going?" Olivia asked, steadying herself against a console. "The asteroid belt. It's our best chance to lose them." The ship banked sharply, heading toward a dense field of rocks and debris that stretched out ahead of them. The Karvek ships followed, firing more beams. "I should help," Olivia said suddenly. "Tell me what to do." Lyra glanced at her, surprised. "You don't owe us anything. You said if your people die, Earth is next. That makes this my fight too." Olivia moved to stand beside Lyra. "Show me how to help." For the first time, Lyra's eyes turned a bright pink color. She nodded and pointed to a smaller console. That controls our defensive shields. Put your hands on it and think about protection, about creating a barrier. The ship can read your thoughts through touch. Feeling slightly foolish but determined, Olivia placed her hands on the cool surface. To her surprise, it warmed under her touch, and new symbols appeared. Somehow she understood what they meant. She focused her thoughts as Lyra had instructed, and immediately felt a connection to the ship's systems. "It's working," Lyra exclaimed as a blue shield strengthened around the ship, absorbing the next hit from a Karvek weapon. Together, they guided the astral whisper into the asteroid belt, weaving between massive rocks at speeds that should have been impossible. One of the Karvek ships clipped an asteroid and spun out of control. The other two continued the pursuit, but they were falling behind. "You're a natural," Lyra said, glancing at Olivia with newfound respect. "The ship shouldn't respond so well to a human, but it's accepting you as if you were Astrian." The stars shone brightly over the Montana hills. Olivia Brennan sat alone in the small observatory, her eyes fixed on the computer screens. It was just past midnight, and the world outside was quiet. Most people in the nearby town were asleep, but not Olivia. She loved the night shift at the Pinewood Observatory. The quiet hours gave her time to think and watch the stars without interruption. Olivia pushed her red hair behind her ears and sipped her coffee. It had gone cold, but she didn't mind. She was too busy checking the unusual readings on her screen. For the past hour, something strange had been happening in the upper atmosphere. At first she thought it was just a glitch in the equipment, but now she wasn't so sure. "That's odd," she muttered to herself, adjusting her glasses. The readings showed something large entering Earth's atmosphere, but it didn't match any known aircraft or natural object. Even stranger, it wasn't showing up on any military radar. She knew this because the observatory had a direct line to the nearby Air Force base. They shared data about anything unusual in the skies. Olivia reached for the phone to call her boss, Dr. Malone, but before her fingers touched the receiver, a bright flash lit up the room. The light was so intense that Olivia had to cover her eyes. When she looked up again, all her screens were filled with alerts. Something had just entered Earth's atmosphere at incredible speed, and it was heading straight for the observatory. "Oh my God," Olivia whispered, her heart racing. She grabbed the phone and quickly dialed the emergency number for the Air Force Base. "This is Olivia Brennan at Pinewood Observatory. We have an unidentified object approaching at high speed. I think—" She never finished her sentence. A deafening roar filled the air as something massive passed overhead. The entire building shook. Coffee cups, books, and equipment crashed to the floor. The lights flickered and went out, leaving only the emergency backup lights casting an eerie red glow. Over the room, Olivia ran to the window. What she saw made her freeze in place. A large silver vessel, unlike anything she had ever seen, was hovering just above the ground in the open field beside the observatory. It was sleek and oval-shaped, with no visible engines or windows. The surface seemed to shift and move, reflecting the moonlight like liquid metal. Within minutes, security guards from the observatory complex surrounded the vessel, their guns drawn. Olivia could hear shouting outside as more people arrived. She grabbed her jacket and ran down the stairs, driven by a curiosity that was stronger than her fear. Outside, the air felt electric. The guards had formed a circle around the vessel, their flashlights pointed at its smooth surface. Dr. Malone was there too, his face pale in the harsh light. "Brennan, get back inside," he shouted when he saw her. But Olivia couldn't move. She was too fascinated by what was happening. As they watched, a section of the vessel's surface began to shimmer. It rippled like water, and then a doorway appeared where there had been only solid metal before. A soft blue light spilled out from inside, casting long shadows across the grass. The guards tensed, raising their weapons higher. "Step back from the vessel," one of them shouted, but their words seemed to have no effect. A figure appeared in the doorway, backlit by the blue light. As it stepped forward, Olivia gasped. It looked almost human, a woman with a slender build and graceful movements. But as she came fully into view under the floodlights, it became clear that she was not human at all. Her skin was a soft violet color that seemed to glow slightly in the darkness. Her eyes were the most striking feature. They shifted colors, like the swirling gases of a nebula, from deep purple to bright blue and back again. Her hair, silvery white and flowing as if underwater, moved around her head despite the still night air. The guards stepped back, their weapons still raised. Dr. Malone stood frozen in shock, but Olivia felt drawn forward, as if pulled by an invisible force. The alien woman's eyes scanned the crowd until they found Olivia. When their gazes met, Olivia felt a strange connection, like recognition, though she had never seen this being before. The alien took another step forward, and now she was fully in the floodlights. She wore a form-fitting suit made of a material that looked like liquid silver, similar to her ship. Around her neck was a device that glowed with the same blue light as the ship's interior. She raised her hand, palm outward, in what seemed like a peaceful gesture. Then, to everyone's surprise, she spoke in perfect English. "I need you, human," the alien woman said, her voice full of desperation. "My people are dying, and you are the only one who can save us." The guards looked at each other in confusion. Dr. Malone stepped forward, but the alien woman shook her head. "Not you," she said, then pointed directly at Olivia. Her. Before anyone could react, the sound of engines filled the air. Several black SUVs and military vehicles came speeding up the observatory road, their headlights cutting through the darkness. Men in dark suits jumped out, along with soldiers carrying much heavier weapons than the observatory guards. "This is a federal matter now," one of the men in suits announced, flashing a badge. "Everyone back inside. This area is under quarantine." The alien woman's expression changed to one of alarm. She looked at the approaching agents, then back at Olivia. With surprising speed, she moved forward, pushing past the guards before they could react. "They will take me, study me, and my people will die," she said urgently, now standing directly in front of Olivia. "I do not have time to explain everything. You must decide now. Will you help me?" Olivia stared into those shifting, cosmic eyes. 1,000 questions raced through her mind. This couldn't be happening. Things like this didn't happen to ordinary people like her. And yet deep inside, she felt that this moment was somehow meant to be. "How do you know me?" Olivia managed to ask. "I know your blood," the alien replied cryptically. "I know what you carry inside you. Please, there isn't much time." The agents were getting closer, shouting orders. Guns were being aimed. The alien woman held out her hand to Olivia. "Who are you?" Olivia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "My name is Lyra," the alien replied, "and I have crossed the stars to find you." Olivia took a deep breath. Then, as the agents reached them, she made her decision. She reached out and took Lyra's hand. The moment their skin touched, a bright blue light enveloped them both. The agents and guards shielded their eyes. When they looked again, both women were gone, leaving behind only a circle of scorched grass where they had stood. Inside the silver ship, lights flashed as systems came to life. Before anyone could react, the vessel rose silently into the air, hovered for a moment, then shot upward at impossible speed. Within seconds, it was gone, leaving behind only bewildered witnesses and a mystery that would soon become the biggest news story on Earth. Days passed aboard the Astral Whisper as they traveled deeper into the solar system. Olivia lost track of time. Without the regular cycle of day and night, hours blurred together. She spent most of her time on the bridge with Lyra, learning to operate the ship's systems. "I can teach you more," Lyra said one day as they sat together at the main console. "The ship responds to Astrian biology, but I've modified it to recognize your genetic signature as well." Olivia watched as Lyra's hands moved across the controls. Despite her weakening condition, the alien woman's movements remained precise and graceful. "Why does the ship accept me so easily?" Olivia asked. "You said it shouldn't respond this well to a human." Lyra's eyes shifted to a thoughtful green color. "I have a theory. The quantum changes in your DNA may be more significant than I first thought. There might be more Astrian in you than either of us realized." "What do you mean?" Before Lyra could answer, the ship's alarm sounded again. Lyra quickly checked the sensors. 2 Carvex scout ships, she said, her voice tense. They found us. Olivia moved to the defense console without being told. Over the past days, she had become more comfortable with the alien technology. She placed her hands on the surface and the shield controls appeared immediately. How do they keep finding us? She asked as she strengthened the rear shields. They must have placed a tracker on the hull during our last encounter, Lyra said, increasing speed. We need to lose them before they can call for reinforcements, We're approaching Jupiter, its massive form filling the view screen. Lyra steered the ship toward the gas giant's turbulent atmosphere. What are you doing? Olivia asked, alarmed. We can't go into that, can we? Not deep, but the upper layers will help mask our signature. Lyra's fingers danced across the controls. I need you to adjust the hull's temperature regulators, otherwise we'll burn up. Olivia quickly found the right console and focused her thoughts on cooling, on protection from heat. The ship responded instantly, coating its exterior with a layer of energy that would deflect the worst of Jupiter's harsh conditions. The astral whisper dipped into the uppermost clouds of Jupiter. Outside, swirling storms of gas in shades of orange, red, and cream enveloped the ship. The vessel shook violently as turbulence hit them. Hang on, Lyra called over the noise. Olivia gripped her console tightly. Through the rear cameras, she could see the 2 Carvex ships following them into the atmosphere. One fell back, apparently unwilling to risk the dangerous conditions. The other pressed on, determined. Lyra guided their ship through the chaos, with incredible skill, using the storm systems to her advantage. She found a particularly powerful current and rode it, letting it increase their speed beyond what the engines alone could achieve. The pursuing Carvex ship tried to follow, but misjudged the current's strength. It was caught in a powerful updraft and thrown into a denser layer of the atmosphere. Warning lights flashed across its hull before it disappeared from their sensors. Did they crash? Olivia asked. No, but they'll be busy repairing their systems. For a while, Lyra replied with grim satisfaction. She steered the ship back up, out of Jupiter's atmosphere. That buys us some time. As they emerged from the planet's clouds, Lyra suddenly slumped forward, her hands slipping from the controls. The ship wavered, losing its course. Lyra! Olivia rushed to her side. The alien woman's violet skin had paled significantly, and dark patches now covered most of her arms and neck. Her breathing was shallow. I'm fine, Lyra whispered, but she clearly wasn't. Just need to rest. You need treatment, Olivia insisted. The bioweapon is getting worse. There's no treatment until we reach the sanctuary and create the antidote. From your blood. Lyra tried to sit up straight again, but she was too weak. Then I'll fly the ship, Olivia said decisively. Tell me where to go. Lyra looked at her with surprise, her eyes shifting to a deep orange. You can't possibly. You've been teaching me for days. I can do this. Olivia helped Lyra to a side seat, then took the main pilot position. Just tell me the coordinates. After a moment's hesitation, Lyra nodded. Very well. She spoke a series of numbers and strange words that the ship's computer translated into a course heading. The sanctuary is hidden in the Kuiper Belt, beyond Neptune. It's inside a hollow asteroid. Shielded from detection, Olivia placed her hands on the main console. At first, nothing happened. She closed her eyes, focusing her thoughts on connection, on becoming one with the ship. Slowly, the controls began to respond. The holographic displays appeared, recognizing her touch. It's working, she said, surprised at her own abilities. Guide with intention, not just thought, Lyra instructed weakly. Feel the ship as an extension of yourself. Olivia tried to follow the advice. She imagined the ship's hull as her own skin, its sensors as her eyes, its engines as her muscles. Gradually, the connection deepened. The ship responded more smoothly to her commands. She set the course for the Kuiper Belt and engaged the engines. The astral whisper hummed with power as it accelerated away from Jupiter, heading toward the outer reaches of the solar system. For hours, Olivia piloted the ship while Lyra rested. Occasionally, the alien woman would offer guidance or correction, but mostly she watched with growing respect as the human woman mastered her ship's complex systems. You fly like an Astrian, Lyra whispered at one point, her color momentarily brightening before fading again, a sign her condition was worsening. No, Olivia replied with newfound confidence. I fly like a human. As they passed Saturn, with its magnificent rings gleaming in the distant sunlight, Lyra felt strong enough to talk again. She joined Olivia at the main console, though she didn't take back control of the ship. There's something I haven't told you, she said softly. About why your blood works against our bioweapon. Olivia glanced at her, maintaining her focus on the ship's course. I'm listening. The Astrians and humans aren't just similar species. We're related. Lyra touched a panel, bringing up an image of a DNA strand. This is human DNA. Another strand appeared beside it. And this is Astrian. The two strands had clear differences, but the basic structure was remarkably similar. That's impossible, Olivia said. How could species from different planets be related? Because we didn't evolve on different planets. Not originally. Lyra's eyes turned a deep, mysterious purple. Millions of years ago, our ancestors were one species. They evolved on Earth. What? But that would mean that Astrians are originally from Earth, yes. Our ancient ancestors developed space travel technology very early, long before your recorded history. A group left Earth and eventually settled on Astria. Over millions of years, we evolved differently due to our new environment. Olivia tried to process this revelation. So you're saying we're distant cousins? More than that. Some Astrians returned to Earth throughout history. They interbred with humans. Your grandfather didn't just create quantum changes in your DNA. Through his experiments, he was likely enhancing traits that were already there, dormant Astrian genes that most humans carry in tiny amounts. That's why the ship responds to me, Olivia realized, and why my blood can cure your people. Exactly. Your quantum-altered blood combined with your partial Astrian heritage creates the perfect antidote to the Karvek bioweapon. Lyra placed her hand on Olivia's shoulder. You're not just any human, Olivia. You're a bridge between our worlds. The ship's sensors beeped, interrupting their conversation. A massive object was appearing on the long-range scanners. Neptune, Lyra said. We're getting close. As the blue planet came into view, Olivia was struck by its beauty. The deep azure color, the white clouds swirling in its atmosphere. It was both alien and familiar. We'll use Neptune's gravity to slingshot us toward the Kuiper Belt, Lyra explained. It will save time and fuel. Olivia nodded and adjusted their course. She guided the ship into a careful orbit around Neptune, using its gravitational pull to increase their speed. The maneuver was delicate, requiring precise calculations and timing. A little closer, Lyra advised. We need more speed. Olivia brought the ship lower, skimming the upper atmosphere just enough to get the boost they needed without endangering the vessel. The astral whisper shuddered as Neptune's gravity grabbed it, then flung it outward with increased velocity. Perfect, Lyra said, genuine admiration in her voice. Even most Astrian pilots couldn't have done that better. As they sped away from Neptune toward the distant Kuiper Belt, the ship's long-range sensors detected multiple objects approaching from the direction of Earth. Karvek battleships, Lyra said grimly. A full squadron. They must have called for reinforcements after we lost the scouts. How many? Olivia asked, trying to keep her voice steady. At least 6 capital ships, probably with fighter escorts. Lyra's eyes turned a dark red, fear. They're between us and Earth now. Olivia realized what that meant. So even if we wanted to turn back, we couldn't. Not without fighting. Through their entire fleet. Lyra looked at her apologetically. I'm sorry, Olivia. I never meant to cut you off from your home. Olivia stared at the view screen, watching as Neptune receded behind them. Earth was now just a tiny dot in the vast darkness, indistinguishable from the stars around it. Her family, her friends, her entire life, all of it was back there, now blocked by an alien armada. The Australian fleet moved silently through the void of space, 300 warships strong. At their center flew the Stellar Defender, the massive flagship commanded by Admiral Lyra. On its bridge, Olivia stood beside the Admiral, watching as Earth grew larger on the view screen. "Home," Olivia whispered. After weeks in space, the sight of the blue planet brought tears to her eyes. "It's beautiful," Lyra agreed, just as our ancestors remembered it. The past 7 days had been a blur of preparation and training. Olivia had learned basic Austrian battle tactics and how to operate the complex systems of the flagship. The Austrian crews, recovered from the bioweapon thanks to the cure derived from Olivia's blood, worked with renewed energy and purpose. "Admiral," called one of the sensor operators, "we're detecting the Karvek fleet on the far side of the moon. 27 capital ships, including the Planet Killer and approximately 500 fighter craft. They haven't seen us yet," Lyra noted. "Our stealth systems are working. Should we contact Earth?" Olivia asked. "Warn them?" Lyra shook her head. "Not yet. If we broadcast a message, the Karvek will detect it. We need the element of surprise." Olivia nodded, though it pained her to remain silent when her planet was in danger. She knew Lyra was right. Their best chance was to hit the Karvek before they could prepare their defenses. "All ships, battle formation Delta," Lyra ordered. "Fighters to standby positions. We engage on my mark." Throughout the fleet, crews moved to battle stations. Fighter pilots climbed into their small, agile craft. Weapon systems powered up, shields strengthened. Olivia took her position at the tactical console. Through the neural interface, a technology she had quickly adapted to, she could feel the ship's systems responding to her thoughts. More importantly, she could sense the other ships in the fleet, coordinating their movements and preparations. "The Karvek are beginning to move," reported the sensor operator. "They're positioning for an attack run on Earth." "They still don't see us," Lyra said grimly. "All ships, disable stealth systems on my mark. Target their heavy cruisers first, then the fighter carriers. The Planet Killer is our final target." She looked at Olivia. "Are you ready?" Olivia took a deep breath. "Yes." "Then may the stars guide us." Lyra raised her hand. "Mark." As one, the Austrian fleet dropped their stealth fields. 300 ships appeared seemingly out of nowhere, their weapons already charging. Before the Karvek could react, the first volley fired, bright beams of energy that cut through space toward the unprepared enemy fleet. "Direct hits on 5 cruisers," Olivia reported, reading the data through her neural link. "They're returning. Fire!" The space between the moon and Earth lit up with weapons fire. Brilliant beams of energy crossed paths as the two fleets engaged. The Austrian fighters launched, swarming toward the larger Karvek vessels. "Earth's governments are detecting the battle," said the communications officer. "They're going to full alert. Their satellites are trying to identify us." "Send the recognition codes to their military networks," Lyra ordered. "Let them know we're friendly, but make it a tight beam transmission. Don't broadcast." As the battle intensified, the tactical situation became clear. The Australian ships were more advanced, with better weapons and shields. But the Karvek had numbers on their side, and they fought with a ruthless efficiency that was frightening to witness. "We've lost the Stellar Echo and the Lightseeker," Olivia reported as 2 Austrian cruisers erupted in silent explosions. 3 more heavily damaged. Lyra's face was grim, but her voice remained steady. "Continue the attack. Focus fire on their command ship." The Stellar Defender shuddered as enemy fire struck its shields. Olivia held onto her console, her mind racing through defensive patterns, redirecting shield energy to where it was most needed. "Admiral," called one of the officers, "the Planet Killer is powering up. They're targeting Earth's atmosphere." Lyra's eyes flashed with alarm. "All ships target the Planet Killer, full weapons." The Austrian fleet shifted its focus, pouring fire onto the massive Karvek vessel. Its shields flared bright under the assault but held firm. "It's not enough," Olivia said, watching the readings. "Their shields are too strong for our weapons." Lyra stared at the view screen, her mind working rapidly. "We need to get closer, inside their shield perimeter." "That's suicide," Olivia protested. "Not necessarily." Lyra turned to her. Remember what we discovered about your blood? The quantum resonance? Olivia's eyes widened as she understood. You think we can use that against them? Their bioweapon works on a quantum level. Your blood disrupts that process. Lyra moved to a different console and began entering calculations. If we modify the Stellar Defender's core to amplify the quantum signature from your DNA, we could create a field that disrupts their weapons, Olivia finished. But we'd need to get very close. I'll take the ship in, Lyra said. You need to go to the core chamber and interface directly with the amplifier. Your physical presence is needed to generate the field. Olivia hesitated only for a moment before nodding. Tell me what to do. As the battle raged around them, Olivia ran through the corridors of the flagship, heading for the engine room. Engineers had already begun modifying the quantum core based on Lyra's transmitted instructions. We need a DNA sample, said the chief engineer, an older Astrian named Miran. Olivia held out her arm. Take what you need. The process was quick. A small amount of her blood was drawn and placed into a crystal container. This was then inserted into the heart of the ship's power core, a swirling mass of energy contained within multiple force fields. Now what? Olivia asked. Now you connect to it, Miran replied, handing her what looked like a silver circlet. This will link your neural patterns to the core. Your thoughts will guide the quantum field. Olivia placed the circlet on her head. Immediately, she felt a connection far stronger than the tactical interface she had used before. This was deeper, more profound. She could feel the energy of the ship's core resonating with something inside her, the quantum aspects of her DNA that made her unique. The connection is stable, Miran reported. Admiral, we're ready. Lyra's voice came through the comm system. Brace for high-speed maneuvers, we're going in. The Stellar Defender broke from the main fleet, accelerating toward the planet killer. Enemy fire concentrated on them, but Lyra's piloting skills kept them moving too fast for the Karvek gunners to lock on effectively. In the core chamber, Olivia closed her eyes, focusing all her thoughts on the quantum field. She visualized it expanding from her body, amplified by the ship's systems, growing stronger and wider with each passing second. We're approaching the planet killer's shield perimeter, Lyra announced. Olivia, are you ready? Yes, she replied, her voice steady despite her racing heart. All hands, prepare for shield impact in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Stellar Defender hit the planet killer's shields at tremendous speed. For a moment, it seemed they would be destroyed on impact. Then, remarkably, they passed through. The quantum field creating a temporary disruption in the enemy's defenses were inside their shields. Lyra's voice was triumphant. Olivia, now! With every ounce of her concentration, Olivia expanded the quantum field to its maximum. A pulse of blue-white energy expanded outward from the Stellar Defender, passing harmlessly through Astrian technology but striking the Karvek ship with full force. The effect was immediate. The planet killer's weapons powered down. Its engines faltered. Across its hull, systems failed as the quantum field disrupted the biotech components that were integral to Karvek technology. It's working, Miran exclaimed. Their neural interfaces are shutting down. Not just the planet killer, but all the Karvek ships within range of the expanding field began to drift, their crews unable to control their vessels as the neural links between pilots and ships were severed. All ships, attack now, Lyra ordered. Target their engines and weapons, disable, don't destroy if possible. The Astrian fleet surged forward, firing precision shots at the now vulnerable enemy vessels. One by one, the Karvek ships went dark, their power cores shutting down under the continued assault. In the core chamber, Olivia struggled to maintain the quantum field. The strain was enormous, and she could feel her strength fading. Blood trickled from her nose as the pressure built in her mind. Admiral, Miran reported urgently, we can't sustain this. The human's body can't handle the strain much longer. Just a little more, Lyra replied. The planet killer's core is destabilizing. Once it's fully disabled, she can stop. Olivia gritted her teeth, pushing through the pain. She could feel the quantum field weakening as her consciousness began to fade. Just as darkness started to close in around her vision, Lyra's voice came through once more. "It's done. The planet killer is neutralized. Olivia, you can stop now." With a gasping breath, Olivia released her hold on the field. It collapsed immediately, and she would have fallen if Moran hadn't caught her. "Get her to medical," Lyra ordered. "And signal the fleet. We've won this day." Hours later, Olivia awoke in the medical bay of the Stellar Defender. Lyra sat beside her bed, her eyes a warm pink color. "We won?" Olivia asked weakly. "We did," Lyra confirmed. "The Karvik fleet has retreated. Those ships too damaged to flee have surrendered. Earth is safe." "Does my planet know what happened?" The Kuiper Belt stretched before them, a vast region of space filled with ice, rock, and countless small bodies orbiting the distant sun. Olivia guided the astral whisper through this frozen wilderness, following Lyra's directions. The alien woman's condition had worsened. She could barely stand now, and dark patches covered most of her once beautiful violet skin. "There," Lyra said weakly, pointing to a cluster of large asteroids ahead. "The third one from the left. That's the sanctuary." Olivia peered at the view screen. The asteroid looked like any other, a lumpy, irregular rock about 50 miles across. There was nothing to suggest it was special or that it contained an entire colony of aliens. "I don't see anything," she admitted. "You won't, not from the outside. The shields make it appear like a normal asteroid." Lyra tapped a sequence into a small device on her wrist. "I'm sending the entry codes now." A beam of light shot out from the ship toward the asteroid. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a section of the asteroid's surface seemed to shimmer and fade, revealing a large opening, a hangar bay built into the rock itself. "Take us in, slowly," Lyra instructed. Olivia carefully guided the ship toward the opening. As they passed through the shield barrier, her skin tingled with static electricity. The astral whisper glided into a vast chamber carved into the heart of the asteroid. Inside, a small city spread out before them. Buildings of crystal and metal rose from the rock floor, glowing with the same soft blue light as Lyra's ship. Above, the ceiling of the cavern twinkled with artificial stars, creating the illusion of a night sky. "It's beautiful," Olivia whispered. "It was once," Lyra agreed sadly. "Before the sickness." As the ship settled onto a landing platform, Olivia could see figures moving below. They were Astrians like Lyra, but many of them moved slowly, clearly ill. Their violet skin was pale and mottled with dark patches. A reception committee waited as Olivia and Lyra exited the ship. Most were medical staff, rushing forward with a floating stretcher for Lyra. An older Astrian with silver markings on his face stepped forward. "I am Elder Torin," he said in perfect English. "You must be Olivia Brennan. Lyra told us about you in her transmissions." "Yes," Olivia replied, watching with concern as Lyra was placed on the stretcher. "Will she be okay?" "Our best healers will attend to her." "But without the cure?" Elder Torin's eyes shifted to a somber gray color. "Come, we have much to discuss, and little time." As they walked through the sanctuary, Olivia saw the full extent of the crisis. Hundreds of Astrians lay in medical bays, their once vibrant skin now dull and diseased. Children, their eyes large and full of fear, huddled together in quiet groups. Workers moved slowly about their tasks, fighting through their symptoms to keep the colony functioning. "How many of you are there?" Olivia asked. "Once we numbered in the millions across several colonies," Elder Toran replied. "Now fewer than 10,000 remain, all here in this final sanctuary." He led her to a large central building with a domed roof. Inside was a circular chamber with a raised platform in the center. Several Astrians in white garments waited there, surrounded by strange equipment. "Our medical team," Toran explained. "They're ready to begin working with your blood samples immediately." One of the medical team stepped forward, a female Astrian with intricate patterns etched into her pale violet skin. "I am Healer Vela," she said. "We will need several samples of your blood, taken over a period of days. The process will not harm you, but you may feel tired afterward." Olivia nodded. Take whatever you need. Just help these people. The next few days passed in a blur of medical tests and blood draws. Between sessions, Olivia explored the sanctuary, learning more about the Astrians and their culture. They were a peaceful species dedicated to knowledge and exploration. Their technology was centuries beyond Earth's, yet they used it with care and wisdom. On the third day, Healer Vela came to Olivia with excitement in her eyes, which now glowed a bright green. "We've done it," she announced. "Your blood contains exactly what we needed. The quantum properties in your DNA have allowed us to synthesize an antidote." "Will it work?" Olivia asked anxiously. "We've already tested it on several patients, including Lyra." Vela smiled. "Come and see." She led Olivia to the medical center where Lyra was recovering. The change was dramatic. Lyra's skin had regained much of its vibrant violet color, and the dark patches were fading. When she saw Olivia, her eyes shifted to a bright pink. "Happiness." "It worked," Lyra said, sitting up. "You saved us?" Olivia felt tears well up in her eyes. "I'm so glad." Over the next week, the antidote was distributed. Throughout the sanctuary, everywhere, Astrians were recovering, their strength returning, their eyes bright again. They looked at Olivia with gratitude whenever she passed, some reaching out to touch her hand or bowing in respect. "They see you as a savior," Lyra explained. As they walked through the central plaza one day, she had fully recovered and moved with her old grace again. "In our oldest legends, there are stories of a bridge between worlds who would come in our darkest hour." "I'm no savior," Olivia protested. "I just happen to have the right blood. Perhaps. Or perhaps there are no accidents in the universe." Lyra's eyes turned a thoughtful blue. "Either way, you've given us a future again." As they talked, Elder Torin approached with several other council members. "Olivia Brennan," he said formally, "the council wishes to thank you for your service to our people. We are forever in your debt." Olivia nodded awkwardly, uncomfortable with the ceremony. "I was happy to help, but now that your people are recovering, I need to think about going home. My family must be worried sick." The council members exchanged troubled looks. Torin's eyes shifted to a dark gray. "There is something you should know," he said gravely. "Our long-range sensors have detected Karvek activity near Earth. A significant fleet has gathered in your solar system." "What does that mean?" Olivia asked, though she feared she already knew the answer. "The Karvek don't just want to eliminate Astrians," Lyra explained gently. "They believe any species we've contaminated with our knowledge must be cleansed or controlled. Now that they know we've had centuries of contact with Earth, they're going to attack my planet," Olivia finished, her voice hollow. "We believe so, yes," Toran confirmed. "They're gathering their forces. Based on their typical battle strategies, they will likely strike within the next month." Olivia felt her knees weaken. She sat down heavily on a nearby bench. "Billions of people. They have no defense against your level of technology." "We know," Lyra said, sitting beside her. "That's why we must help them." Olivia looked up in surprise. "You would do that? Fight the Karvek for us?" "For us all," Toran corrected. "As Lyra has told you, our peoples share ancient bonds. Earth is our ancestral home too. We cannot stand by while it falls." "But how?" Olivia asked. "You said yourself there are only 10,000 of you left, and the Karvek have a massive fleet." "We have ships," Lyra said. "Many ships. The sanctuary wasn't just built as a refuge. It's also a military installation from the old days, before we became purely peaceful." Torin nodded. "When our people fled here, we brought our defense fleet with us. The ships have been dormant for centuries, but they can be reactivated." "Show me," Olivia said. Toran led them to a section of the sanctuary Olivia hadn't visited before. A massive door opened in the rock wall, revealing an enormous cavern beyond. What Olivia saw took her breath away. Hundreds of ships, far larger than the Astral Whisper, hung suspended in the cave. They were beautiful, with sleek lines and powerful engines. Some were clearly designed for battle, with weapon systems visible along their hulls. Others were carriers built to transport smaller craft. All bore the distinctive silver-blue color of Astrian technology. The ancient fleet, Toran said with pride. 300 warships and 2,000 fighter craft, built during the last Great War, over 500 years ago. They've been preserved here waiting. Waiting for what? Olivia asked. For a time of need, Lyra replied. For now. Workers were already moving among the ships, preparing them for activation. Lights flickered on across the hulls as systems came back online after centuries of dormancy. Will they still work? Olivia wondered. Astrian technology is built to last, Toran assured her, and we've maintained them, even though we hoped never to need them again. As they watched the fleet awakening, a young Astrian messenger approached them urgently. Elder Toran, he said, his eyes flashing a worried yellow. The long-range scouts report the Karvek have begun moving toward Earth. Their planet killer has joined the fleet. Planet killer? Olivia asked, her blood running cold. Weapon capable of rendering a planet uninhabitable, Lyra explained grimly. It strips away the atmosphere and burns the surface. Toran's expression grew even more serious. Then we have less time than we thought. We must accelerate our preparations. How long do we have? Olivia asked. At their current speed, they will reach Earth in 7 days, the messenger reported. Toran turned to Lyra. Admiral Lyra, I hereby reactivate your commission and place you in command of the fleet. Choose your crew and prepare for immediate departure. Lyra straightened, suddenly looking more like a military commander than the scientist Olivia had come to know. I accept the command, Elder. She turned to Olivia. Will you stand with us? Will you help us defend your world?